he ultimately has anyway. Oop, this is the reason why you can see that damage in the corner of Tim Blanchard's Advam Dick Johnson racing car. The guys that have done a lot of it are well served by just pacing themselves. So there's another moment for Tim Blanchard in car 17. This time it's Scott Pye that nails him down at turn 9.
Interestingly enough, after yesterday, Tim Blanchard in the Advam Falcon said the most important part of this weekend is staying out of trouble. He's a bit of a magnet. At
the area where the cars have been at their least stable, through the end of Wakefield Street, they're having trouble pulling him up on the bumps, and he's got it right out of shot.
Instead of locking the wheels and running straight into Webb, so Webb goes off at turn 4, hits pretty heavy contact actually there with the outside.
Here's James Moffat down the inside. That was the reason we saw Johnny Reid limping back in the break.
Kelly got the jump on Scott Pye on approach to turn 8. Alex went with him, but went way too shallow and then way too deep into the left-hand wall and then slam into the right-hand side.
As soon as I saw him on the grey on the approach, I knew he was in trouble because he can't turn into turn 8 that shallow. So he tried to do what Rick had done. Rick got it done at the previous corner effectively when he got past Scott Pye. Alex went with him. He made the radius of the corner tighter, car understeered and whacked the outside of the wall, broke the steering, which then fired it to the concrete wall on the inside. And there's our first Petters STP safety car.
That's a really big impact. And as you've seen over the years, often the result is exactly that. You either hug the left-hand concrete barriers and continue...
And up the back, it's just one of those nose-to-tail silly traffic incidents. Whole heap of people with nowhere to go.
And meanwhile, Craig Lowndes has got back around Russell Ingall on the last flying lap. What a...
The rest of the pack in terms of speed. Do we see a bit more here? Yes,
yeah.
So it was Ingall. Contact there with Lowndes, who was on the radio at the time, and then he abruptly stopped. Now we know why.
And that's where the tyre, you can see the tyre there immediately. Yeah, so there's the contact. Now, and he wasn't hit from behind. There was a gap to the other car.
So maybe the tyre has actually popped, and that's the reason he's rotated. So I'm not sure that Russell's actually had a role in that or just been nearby. And that'll all relate to what happened when he went off the road up at the top of the circuit. It will have damaged the tyre.
That's right. And Russell Ingall, just there he is. He's 3 abreast. There's Wall and there's Caruso. So Wall and Caruso made a little bump, and then Wall nowhere to go. Reynolds right up on the Armco, right up on 2 wheels. Have a look how high it comes up on 2 wheels.
Oof, gee, it hit that fence hard. That'll
lucky it didn't roll over.
Very lucky, and it'll have really significant damage in the front right-hand corner as well because of the scope of that impact. Here's the view from the curb cam.
Great shot. Oh, lucky not to get on his roof. Huh?
So one victim already. A harsh one too. David Reynolds just can't take a trick.
So Tander and Pye, and here we go. Oh, that's Russell was involved there somewhere with Tim Slade. And who is on
a hydraulic problem, and this is going to be a shot now. You see straight ahead, hasn't retarded at all, and bang in. That's as heavy front impact as we've seen for a long time.
Lucky not to flip over here. You watch the force of this impact and what it does to the Ecole Commodore. Nose first, flips right up. And the crowd, understandably, are scared of that one. It's the biggest one that Scott Pye will ever have. And some people just can't watch.
Yeah, that's a nasty image. Here it is again. Listen, just listen. Yeah, so it's skated through the gravel.
Leader approaching and a lot of gravel on the road. Just hold.
We need another shot because they're all arriving very, very fast. They need to be conscious.
Let's take a look at this replay as they come back onto the straight. Already a bit going on by this stage. Now watch car 22. James Courtney gets affected by the bump and tags Bright. So Bright, Courtney, Van Gisbergen go off. Scott McLaughlin's hung out wide and wouldn't have expected the check from the flying 22 car that had no control.
Look at that lunacy out there.
Well, Van
13.
Oh, those wheels were locked way before the corner. And you've got to give him credit for having a go at this. You've got to say, hey, you've got to get on with it. He had the wheels locked, and this is on board with Whincup. Bang! Into the side. Whincup got away with it. He come across the road. Whincup didn't do anything wrong. And it is nothing. You make decisions in this sport, you ride the mistake. Yep, Jamie by himself. And this is the D'Alberto incident with Slade. And on the right-hand side, one of the DJR cars. Oh, and he can't get off. So actually, whoever was in the DJR car there, well, he had nowhere to go. No. Tony was trying to get off the road, but he didn't realise.
That's what it looks, sounds and feels like. So he ended up across the nose. Here it is from outside, tells the story. As James moved left, there's nowhere for Van Gisbergen to go, so it pivots around the nose of the VIP pit.
Here at turn 8.
By himself.
Done it all himself. Onto the grass.
There'll be a reason for it.
On the left-hand side, there's nothing he can do.
So let's have a listen.
It's like it just overrun. It didn't retard hardly at all at the start. Maybe it had some throttle still on it.
Brake intakes, and then it runs out of road here. He's actually off the road quite early. Possibly punctured a tyre before he got there.
Here we go. So he's on the outside. He's run a little bit wide. Rick Kelly gets up the middle. Garth Tander pushes a little bit wide. They can't help but make contact at that point. And watch where this car goes. It runs over the infield and out of sight. Very lucky not to roll over. Look at that. That is 250 kilometres an hour. It's like Dukes of Hazzard stuff.
And airborne too.
How that thing didn't bite and flip. Here it is again in replay, but this time from the other angle, and Alex was a long way up. So it flicks the Wilson Security Falcon around from Dick Johnson Racing, a little 180, and he comes to a safe stop. Here it is again from a third angle.
Yeah, it was certainly up far enough to be Alex Davison.
We're riding with him on the run up to turn 1. It's always aggravation filled in the mid-pack.
He'll get a hit there. Oof. That started with one of the Kelly cars. It started with Todd Kelly, but it was actually another bump from behind. Now, have a look at the start of Whincup.
Trouble in the mid-pack here as well. 2 cars. One of them was an HRT car. And that's
big
McLaughlin.
slide. Big slide for Morrow Engel.
Here's the black and yellow car.
This is approaching turns 16, 17 and 18. And there goes Tim Slade.
So this is David Wall. Contact, oh, that was awkward. That could have resulted in a roll for the Wilson security car. That's a big hit.
So there might be some action in all of that. Here we go. Prema into the back. Now, there's Jonathan Webb involved in that too. So this is Slade guy rating at turn 5. Now, over on our right, there will be another Mercedes. Okay, here we go. There's Lee Holdsworth. Now, he gets hit there from Mostert.
What's the story? Listen. Lock the rear brakes. Contact. David spins. Frosty lives to fight another day. Here's the other angle.
I said he was close enough. This is a spot, but it's basically got to make a car length. Locks the rear brakes. He was never going to pull it up. So on those ones like that, you've just got to be conservative. If you can't get by, that's it. It's over. So we're on board now with Dave Reynolds. Take a look. You'll hear the wheels squeak as they make contact. Have a look.
End of race 18 of the championship. This incident is now under investigation down here at turn 5. Jonathan Webb, contact with Scott Pye. The Ecole Commodore with Northern Territory Shipping backing this weekend. They've been made honorary Territorians, the crew and Scotty. But it hasn't gone to plan here. Winner.
So that was Fabian Coulthard we were riding with then. So Tander shot down the inside, and then there was basically 3 into 2. Didn't go with Slade, Bright, and was it Tander? was it 22? No, it was 33. It was McLaughlin. So still trying to unravel who did what to who here.
Dean Fiore's really lucky not to have rolled the Dodo insurance car. He'll arrive on the scene there. Look at that. Right up on two wheels and then back down in the dust.
He ends up in the side of it. Here's another angle. You can see them both wrestling the wheel. Chaz had nowhere else to go, and then he gives him a tagging for his trouble. And, they sort of self-cancelled each other.
Right back in the middle of the shot, so you see the Nissan Altima of Rick Kelly and Slade. And see here, this is where he almost got collected by one of the Nissans. See, Van Gisbergen and the guys were spinning out on the left, but Whincup all...
David Reynolds is Bright tagging Michael Caruso. This is what started all the madness.
Here we go, so he's down the inside, and that's with Todd. They make contact. It's a little bump, and a little bump, and a little bump, and off he goes. So contact between Todd Kelly, Nissan Altima. It's the Todd Kelly, David Wall incident. So that's out of turn 5. The little bump, 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 bump. Todd turns left. Todd might be in a bit of strife for that. The issue is when the cars get
Started so well for those guys. So there's the contact. Oh, gee, that was a pretty big hit.
well done to get that vision, because that was a much bigger hit. Look at the damage on the back of...
So what's happened here?
Oh,
so Todd Kelly straight into the back of Chaz Mostert. That'll invariably be a post-race penalty for Todd Kelly, I should think. And here it is. It actually cannoned Mostert into the back of Russell Ingall. Around he goes. Alex Premer spits out of the pack, but when he comes back onto the racetrack, he shuffles everybody over to the left, and there's no room because they all start to take avoiding action. Alex Davison had to move. Russell Ingall was reacting to more of the story.
Yeah,
Okay,
got served.
So Lowndes has made contact there with Todd Kelly. Don't know why, or what the details are, but it just pitched it straight onto the grass. Then he can't stop. Does this tell more of the story?
there's the contact.
Yeah, it was Lowndes, I'm sure, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's only...
Yep.
Well,
On the right-hand side of the grid, something.
here it is again in replay. This will actually help them at race control as they look at our slow-mo. This is Jonathan Webb, Murrow Engel, and that's the Benz rotating at turn 2. And how he stayed away from the concrete wall here is a minor miracle. Winterbottom and Rick Kelly having a big go at turn 4, and then on and on and on it went. This is the other angle, and then they lock horns. That breaks the right rear suspension on car 15, and then off Rick goes, and he picks the throttle up in one of the rotations here, trying to come out of it. The grass and the mud, that is. There's the first little bit of contact, and then there's secondary contact down this straight.
And when they hit, Neil, they're doing almost 200 kilometres an hour. So that, at that point, that's why...
So look at this, down the back straight here, 260 kilometres an hour. He tries to lock it up, but Ash Walsh goes slamming into the fence.
That's a big one. So even when they get the speed off the car and make a gear change or two in some cases up here, they're still doing 185 kilometres an hour. It actually tagged Craig Baird as well. He rubbed the back of Baird on the way, so Craig was having a skate. Here it is again. They're both really shallow. Makes the corner sharper, and Ash can't stop it and turn it. That's what it looked like in real time.
He's got nothing here to stop this car.
But it didn't lock a wheel. That's the telling sign. If you're down the inside, you've got to make contact. The wheel will lock.
See entry car number 8. They couldn't confirm. He said, trust me, something's broken. He makes it all the way down here as they're about to send him into pit lane, and he goes into the wall instead. 15 spot here. Remember, he'd been dicing with Shane Van Gisbergen, but he got a tap from Shane's sister car of Jono Webb at the last turn.
What was that about?
So watch this. Murph comes up. He's wide, really wide. And he will go straight into this wall at huge speed.
It's major damage, and in fact, that's a mega shunt.
Listen to this.
Murphy's in the wall.
Wow.
Second half of the race.
He reported straight back to the radio that it was all over.
Lachlan, he's been one of the success stories of 2013. Replay of what happened down here. Johnny McIntyre was the one that got turned around by car number 19, Mark Lee, the Porsche specialist. Here it is from above.
Watch David Brabham.
Probably cop a penalty as a result of that.
Whoa.
That was close.
David Brabham, does the replay unravel this mystery?
Well, Murphy reported back that he was just drilled from behind and sent into the fence. So that's car 3 in front, the high flex car. But watch this. Unloaded at high speed. Look at the damage already to car number 1. The Red Bull Racer is all bashed in, and then the impact of Murph's is enough to throw that car, almost a ton and a half of V8 supercar, back out onto the circuit.
Exactly. This is a pretty bold move. That's Will down the inside of Alex. That's a silly move.
Whoever it was that scampered down the inside in the Nissan was fortunate there.
Safety car, you can scramble, safety car, scramble.
Oh, how close was that? The one you picked. Have another look. Long way back.
He'll cop a penalty for that.
Can't do that.
So he's wiped across the rear bumper of the Jack Daniels car, and he was very lucky, David, not to end up with somebody else arriving. Yeah, so this, as I said before, goes back to what happened at the start when he was at 90 degrees.
Bang.
To the road. Bang. That's where the door got crunched, Brett.
Oh, gee, just with David.
Have a look and see what happens here.
Oh, he got a hit.
Actually got a whack. That's the reason he was out there. Okay, that explains it now. So Steve Owen actually helped him in there. Here we go. Yeah. This is the rear bumper on the 888 Red Bull entry. Whack. Sends him into the dirty side of the road.
It's more than a brush on the tyres.
Yeah. That'll be the reason he's struggling. He'll have some steering damage, a little bit of geometry damage to the front right-hand corner. Yes, you're right, Matt. Way more than a brush. Taken all the momentum out of it and left it with something of a legacy. And it's still all going on down the pack here as well. So that's car number 34, Greg Ritter.
So he's exiting pit lane.
Oh. Bang.
Oh!
Yeah, honey, we just saw a replay, mate. Nothing you can do. Nothing you can do.
So Lowndes comes
tough job
screaming
there, mate.
through at full pace. Pies wide, leaving pit lane into that tyre bundle. And Shane van Gisbergen, who's tracking behind Lowndes at this stage, has nowhere to go but right
Yeah, buddy, once they
into
get
the
you to
rear of
recover
this
the
car.
How
we'll,
lucky
switch the
is
master
that?
power off too.
So Reynolds in 9th, and this is under investigation.
I think he might be up far enough, actually. I think he's up past the B pillar or into the peripheral vision of the driver in front. I think he may have just got away with that one when they review that. So Lowndes now betters his own lap record with a 32.82 on the previous lap. Remember, he held the previous lap record for so many years, way back in Bridgestone tyre days. So Tander is now under pressure from Winterbottom. Winterbottom's got
Play. Watch this one.
that there. He'll be in stride for.
And look who was on the inside of that too.
Yeah, I mentioned before it was Whincup, but I don't think Jamie actually triggered it. My first impression was he might have, but I think he actually got a shove from Shane there. Picked Courtney's car up, actually lifted the right-hand side of it off the road.
That is as big in terms of side intrusion contact as we've ever seen. In fact, lucky with the new generation.
4th, but this circuit's also a car killer. And this one was brewing back at turn 2 between Reynolds and Chaz Mostert. And the two Norton Hornets caught up in it as well. James Moffat was having a look on the inside there, so there was contact all around. And it was only a matter of time before somebody arrived on the scene with nowhere to go. Garth Tander managed to lock it up and lock it up and lock it up, but he was never going to miss the rear of car number 12. And then Russell Ingall, the super cheap auto Commodore, comes into play and sees nothing but a T-bone waiting. Crunch. Boy, there's been some damage this weekend. So this is on board with Reynolds. The initial contact. So
That
he
was a good
makes the
pass.
gutsy move down there at turn 9. Then around here at turn 10, a push. He spins out to the left-hand side. The other cars can't stop. Bottolo into the Pepsi car, into the Red Bull car. And that's a fizzer all round.
Listen. How quickly was he to back the first slot to get back out of there? That was stuff drive.
And that's what Tim Edwards is saying. So that's the incident there that caused Tim Blanchard to find the tyres and caused the safety car. So contact.
It's Shane Van Gisbergen down the inside, so just nips by and grabs the front left. In fact, Shane was locked up himself at that point, and he...
Concrete strikes Tander at turn 1.
Yeah, that was the point I was going to make, Matt, at turn 1. This time the front left was locked as he turned in there, and he couldn't get it stopped. This morning he ran wide in qualifying and whacked it down there. It just lit up on the concrete, nowhere to go. Second time today in that very spot. In fact, this time it's a little bit closer to the corner. Last time it was further around the corner where there was just a single band of tyres. So
Be an issue with the car from a braking standpoint. But look, it locks the left-hand front again, and he was going to go on the fence. He did a good job. He cleared the brake and flicked it to the right.
he's had a bit of practice. That's his third crack at it.
Chip, what's happened there? That's Bright behind him. That was Bright behind him.
D'Alberto.
D'Alberto, was it?
Yeah. Here we go.
So this is on board with car 5. And this will explain it. Oh, that's big contact. The Sergeant security car into the Norton Hornet. And they are both out. But importantly, Mark Winterbottom, third in the championship, is gone. Innocent bystander in a crash involving Tony D'Alberto. Well, D'Alberto hit the wall and then hit car number 5. So Frosty's title hopes of 2013 are finished. And James Moffat adds to the list of DNFs along with Scott Pye.
And that looked like James Moffat's fault that time, Matt. He was way too...
Here's the lunge. Not clean enough. Made the contact. Here is... This angle will be a little more telling. I reckon...
Behind him, we'll see it. Look at him shoot off.
Watch the coverage. So Winterbottom today covered Whincup. Whincup was then stuck, and the two HRT cars down the inside. They make contact. Webb into D'Alberto. D'Alberto in the fence. So the steer.
So this will show you. Looking out the rear of Dean Fiore. Here comes Blanchard. He can't stop.
Oh, that's actually a brake failure. Something has happened there. There is no way